My name is Rudy Childs, and I started photographing rock concerts in 1978. I lived on the East Coast, and it was in America that was pre-9/11, so the constant surveillance was actually just me and my camera, snuck into a rock concert. Social media was, word of mouth to a friend, or a phone call, or a flyer on a telephone pole. I grew up middle class. My family moved from Maryland to Massachusetts in 1972, so I was like 11 years old. When I arrived, I brought with me a nice thick Maryland accent, so I got picked on by a bunch of the older kids and bullies in town. Took me about 4 years before I grew into be bigger than them and was able to settle a score and put an end to all that nonsense. But in the meantime, I ended up starting to go to rock concerts, and I would push my way to the front row in these general admission concerts, and so my size allowed me to get all the way to the front row. And I started out with a small Instamatic camera with flash cubes on it, but getting all the way to the front row meant I got stellar photographs with this camera of like the likes of Van Halen, Black Sabbath, Foreigner, Ted Nugent, Cheap Trick, Blue Oyster Cult. So I was building quite a catalog of photographs. In 1979 I moved back to Maryland, and I got a job with the railroad, and currently just retired after 42 years of service. But when I got to Amtrak, I started using the rails to get up and down the East Coast, and actually all the way out to California, to take photographs of all these great concerts and festivals. Most of my stuff went unpublished for decades until I found Martin Popoff out of Canada. He publishes books, and he put out a bunch of my work, and recently in February this book came out, a visual biography of Judas Priest, and on the front cover is a photograph I took 40 years ago. When I saw what photograph Martin used for the cover, I called him up and said, "Martin, you're not going to believe this, but I actually got thrown out of the concert for taking photographs that night." And the fact that I was intoxicated on drugs and alcohol didn't help any. But I did get back into the concert and then thrown out again, and back in again and thrown out again. But that's a story in my book. But either way, I ended up becoming the manager of a heavy metal band in 1984, and that led me down the rabbit hole of drugs and alcohol. In 1987 I sought help, and I went to a rehab, and after 3.5 months of rehabilitation, got back out into the world, and I'm 35 years sober today. And after my rock concert lifestyle, I got into boxing, and I've produced over 250 boxing programs that air on regional sports networks around the world. I've actually traveled the world to film boxing as far away as China, and currently working on my memoirs. We're going to have them published soon, that tell the tales of my rock and roll days, and how I got through it and what I came away with. And I have a very, not to toot my own horn, but I have a great story, and I'd like to share it with everyone. Thank you.